Welcome to Mob Talk. Jason Harris guides our live weekly show with numerous automotive experts talking anything and everything automotive. Turn up the volume and let's get ready to rock.
Every
Open
subject,
mic,
open
open
mic.
mic.
This is open mic time. Thank you, Curtis. This is open mic. If anybody would like to jump in, if you've been listening to the conversation, we've had some amazing conversations around the importance of KPIs in 2021. How do we create a buying process versus a sales process? How or who owns the data? Dealers versus marketplaces. And we just finished off our fourth conversation around should a BDC and a sales team be one department. I think in between all four of those conversations, there are micro conversations to be had. If there's anything that you guys have thought of or wanted to bring up during the last 2 hours we've been doing this, please feel free to do so now.
Duran, I wanted to follow up on your battle between it's in the CRM. I have 72 hours protection, blah blah blah. The same old story at every store. My thinking is that's a training standpoint from a leadership and manager standpoint. And I think even if the BDC person maybe doesn't always deserve it, I think if we trained our salespeople to make sure they got more credit and got the credit for that deal, then that particular BDC person is going to lean towards each individual salesperson that does that with them and provide them with more leads. Then it becomes a family atmosphere. I think that's a great coaching moment when you do see a salesperson fighting, saying that was mine all along. I've been talking to this guy before the BDC got involved. Top scenario.
Correct. It's 100% correct, because if you do that and you just eliminate that gray area and just be like, hey, let's focus on the customer. Let's not focus on our end. And that removes a lot of friction. So I love what you're saying, because leadership is key to everything that we're saying here.
For sure.
Can I add something?
Please.
I just entered into the room, and I'm very disappointed in Jason that he hasn't finished his bottle.
I'm pacing myself,
Absolutely.
Mike. I got an 8 a.m. demo tomorrow, so
I see you working, Val. I see you working. Thank you for doing this room. I gain
Thanks for
a
jumping in,
ton
Mike.
from all of you guys. Thank you for sharing.
Hey, guys.
Oh, go ahead, Charles. Welcome, Charles. Thank you.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, thanks, Curtis. Hey, I was wondering if I might throw this out to you guys. I came in a little late on the conversation, but when you guys were talking about how you handle leads, BDC versus the sales floor, one of the things that my team covers is equity mining tools. And I was just curious if any of you guys are using that in any of your stores. And if so, how do you manage those leads? Who's approaching the customers, talking to them about potential equity they may have in their vehicles? And are you having sales consultants do that? Are you having specialists do that? And just looking for any best practice ideas you guys might have out there.
I'll jump in on that one. That I personally, from what I've seen, I like it comes down, let's back up a second. It comes down to who's trained to do it.
Good point.
Because you need to train whoever's going to do it on how that experience needs to be for the consumer. But I really like the salespeople doing it if possible, just because sometimes they need to get a little bit more, I don't want to say granular with the data, but being able to talk, looking at the APR, looking at the monthly payments that they're currently paying, looking at the miles that they currently have, and just really digging down that way and then connecting the dots to see if it makes sense. But if it's just like, it depends what the end result is. Because if it's just like, we just got to get them in. But I think there needs to actually be a conversation with the customer on if it makes sense for them to be coming into the dealership to upgrade or exchange, if that makes sense. So I think there needs to be a little bit more of an art to it, whether it's sales, but I think they just need to be, whoever is taught to do it, that's who, and that person should be empowered to go a little bit deeper into the data and not just focus on, let's just get them in here. Like, look at the data just a little bit more to make sure that it makes sense is what I would say to you on that one.
No, no. Look, Duran. I'm actually 100% with you on that. I think it has a lot to do with who's actually communicating to the customer. Hey, just so you guys know where I'm at, actually here in Canada, in Toronto. To be a salesperson in the automotive industry, you actually have to go. You have to actually get a license. From the province on Ontario to actually be a salesperson. So what's interesting up here is that a lot of the BDC staff are actually licensed salespeople as well because they have to be licensed to have conversations about payments and financing and so on and so forth. So here in Canada, we find that that line is very much so blurred because salespeople and BDC people have to go through the same certification process.
I love that. And to Duran's point, with the data mining at our store, I think it's very much, he made a great example of that. It's who knows how to use the information. And so
Hmm.
my BDC does it kind of like on a watered down level, and then the salespeople do it on a little deeper level. We use a great tool that makes it a little bit easier for the BDC to understand how to have the conversation and what it needs to be about. But the way I explain it to them is, imagine back when you had T-Mobile or something with anytime minutes versus, unlimited data now, right? Back then, if you went over your minutes, you actually got charged, per minute. And I remember a story example where I was like a $300 bill, and if I had just paid $25 more a month, then I could have saved that $300 bill, right? But T-Mobile didn't call me and tell me, hey, Eric, if we upgrade your plan, we can take you and you won't go over it because we noticed something going on with your account, right? So for $25 more, we're going to save you $300 because I would have done it in a heartbeat. Yet when it was time to upgrade my phone, they're the first ones calling saying, hey, we can get you another phone. So I ended up leaving them and going to another plan, right? I fell out of the love. So when I explained to BDC that relationship and say, when we're calling these customers from the data mining point of view, it's more consultative, right? We're calling them to say, hey, listen, I noticed something on your account. There's a little bit of information I think will be important to you. As a loyalty specialist here at the dealership, I think that this information could probably save you some time or money. Give me a call back when you can. And when you do it from a consultative and you really have that tone that this is information that might be important to you and not, hey, we want to upgrade your car. We can't wait to trade you out. We have millions of specials, loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Then the customer feels more so like, okay, well, how is this information going to benefit me? And then that's where, to Duran's point, the type of information you give is important. Is the customer over miles? Are they out of warranty?
Hmm.
Is this a customer who just had a high interest rate back then at 12, 9, 10%, and now, it's been 3 years, so maybe we can get them a lower rate. If you do it from that point of view where the customer always feels educated, whether they buy or not right then doesn't matter because you're planting the seeds. And my BDC can plant seeds just like my salespeople can plant seeds because sometimes it's just about the future. How do I make sure that later on the customer goes, you know what? I'm going to continue to do business with this dealership because they consistently remind me that I'm important. They let me know that my daytime minutes are going over and that I should come in to upgrade my plan. Like those are the things that make a customer feel valued. And they say, even if I don't buy, I've appreciated you guys always took care of me. And I think that can happen from BDC or sales.
Erica, I
Location in
love
your
the
bio where I
fact
can
that you.
apply to work for you.
Mhm. Erica, I love the fact that you brought up anytime minutes. You're dating yourself a little bit when you bring that up. That's
I
awesome.
am.
I mean, it's almost kind
Nights
of like
and
mentioning.
weekends.
You remember your favorite five? The numbers that you can identify and say,
Hell
"Hey,
yeah.
hey
I
guys."
think we're all showing our age here.
I know, right? I admitted earlier I worked for Radio Shack, so this has been some great conversation, guys. And I think to kind of wrap up everything that we've talked about, is really from a leadership perspective down. All right. If we're talking about KPIs, if we're talking about buying processes over sales process, if we're talking about, who owns data and who doesn't own data, and BDC and sales team and how that line's being blurred, all right, the leaders within each dealership need to really kind of own the responsibility around these conversations. And if you're currently a leader within a dealership, then you need to own that. You need to own that responsibility. If you are an influencer within your dealership, all right, having these conversations are incredibly important. I don't want to hear how these conversations kind of stop in Clubhouse and they don't flow into our actual operations. I want to make sure that these conversations really do flow into, our actual operations. And, there is a sense of accountability when you guys are in these rooms and you're listening and you're participating, that you're taking what you're learning from these amazing people that are participating in these conversations and putting it into action. So I encourage everyone, hey, everyone, real quick, if you're not following each other, please do so, because it's a great way to do that, and also a great way to continue to have these conversations. But I can't thank everyone enough for tonight's conversation. This has been a ton of fun.
So Jason, when you say please follow, everybody, if you've gained any value from the room, I call that digital currency. The digital
Good
currency is just a follow. Following is free. You don't got to pay anybody anything. There's an opportunity if you have the option to accept payments, et cetera. But Jason hasn't even discussed that. But the digital currency that is free is just throw somebody a follow if they provided any value to you tonight. Go on, Jason.
100%. Thank you, Curtis.
Thanks for tuning in to Mob Talk. Feel free to like, follow, comment, or get a hold of me with any ideas for new content on future shows. Be sure to check out more amazing automotive content from our Strategy Mob captains and crew at strategymob.com.